All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of Sasquatch Theory. On this series, we are out at the killing fields visiting with David, who has had Bigfoot activity in the past. He said not a whole lot's happened lately, but he did hear a wood knock at his house, which I'm not surprised because lately I've been hearing wood knocks myself. There's been 3 different areas that I've been to that I've heard loud, clear, violent sounding wood knocks, and it shocked me. But at the same time, I'm not surprised because the areas that I have been visiting are areas where I've had sightings, where other people have had encounters, and areas on the map where I believe these creatures would be at. And deer season is over. There's not a whole lot of people out in the woods. We are getting ready to transition from wintertime into springtime. So I feel like these things are coming out of the deep or wherever they're hiding, and they're becoming active again. And that's what I'm seeing out in the woods. There's nothing else it could have been. And I've been around Sasquatch activity for quite some time. And for those of you that don't watch the channel, I've had encounters and experiences in the past. So I'm very aware of these creatures. Now, on the last occasion, I was at a conservation area with a friend who I met at the gym, and we saw a bunch of turkeys pouring out of the woods into one of the Forest Service roads, and we heard these loud knocks. It sounded like someone was chopping wood back there, and the guy that I was with, he said, that's strange. It sounds like someone's chopping wood. And I said, yeah, that's pretty strange, huh? Which he does not believe, or he's skeptical. He's open-minded about Bigfoot, but he's still on the fence about it. And he wanted to meet up with me. He took me out for breakfast the week before, and the next week we went out for a hike because he said he had a strange experience out there where a big animal came out of the woods and he had to say, get out of here, and it took off running in the opposite direction. But when he told me that, I said, you know what? I've had an experience there as well. I've had an encounter across the river, and in that same exact spot that he was talking about, something followed me out of the woods. It paralleled me out of there, and whenever I would stop, it would stop. Whenever I'd keep moving, or whenever I'd start walking, it would start walking. And that really freaked me out because I was out there bow hunting, and it got dark, and I was pretty far away from my vehicle, and whatever it was, it sounded big. In my mind, I thought, okay, this is a black bear, a mountain lion, or a really big buck, because it was just 20 or 30 yards off into the woods, and it's following me out of there. And a lot of people talk about the Sasquatch escorting you out of an area, and I think that's possibly what it was. These creatures are very territorial. You shouldn't be messing with them, and they could squash you like a bug. And yeah, they're not some cute, cuddly animal that wants to give you hugs and leave you gifts like some people say. I'm sorry, the dog remote's going off. All right, sorry about that. Yeah, we took off running, and he was probably about 100 yards away, making his way towards the killing fields. And David warned me. He said, now these cattle, they're not used to seeing dogs, so if they see him, they might try to stomp him into the ground, and I don't want that to happen. But yeah, he's got a shock collar. I mean, it just vibrates and makes noise, and it will shock him if he gets so far away. But it was going off, and you could hear the vibration. I got the remote on a collar. Man, he is just having the time of his life. But yeah, what I'm gonna do for this trip is break this video footage up into a bunch of episodes because it's too hard to compact that much footage into one video. And a lot of people have been saying that they just don't have the time to watch an hour or 2 hour long video, so I'll just try to split it up into like 30-minute, 45-minute videos if possible. And I have to film because I have to keep the channel running. There's so much to do out here, and if I'm not filming, something might happen and I will miss it like I normally do. So I don't want that to happen. And yeah, I got to keep the camera rolling. That's what they're for. That's why I'm out here, is to document something. And yeah, another thing that's happened is we've had some friends out here at the killing fields. Somehow they found David through the video and the internet, and they were out here last time, and some really nice people, and they seen the orange orb. And yeah, I've seen him before as well. Adam's dad has seen it along with me. The last time Adam was out here, me and Tim, which is Adam's father, we were looking down the trail towards the killing fields, and we seen an orange light moving. Maybe it was one or two, I can't remember. But shortly after that, we seen another one, and I messaged David and I said, hey, are you down there in the killing fields driving around? He said, nope. And we didn't hear the side-by-side, so we didn't think it was him. And yeah, apparently we saw the orange orbs. Before that, I think it was like a year ago or so, Adam and I smelled something terrible just right down there. We actually had this RV, and we smelled something terrible, and it would disappear, then come back. It was horrible. I mean, it was an awful smell. We thought it was unusual, so whenever it got dark, we went down there about 200 or 300 yards down into the woods, and we were looking back up towards camp, and down this ridge we seen this orange ball of light moving up the ridge. And yeah, we think it was them, but it was definitely an orb, but we don't know if it was a cryptid creature. That's still yet to be determined. But I'm out here, and the big reason I'm out here is because I feel like I owe David a really good investigation, so I'm going to try to stay as long as possible. And a lot of people have contributed to the channel by watching the videos. They're always asking, when are you going back out to the killing fields? People have made donations through the thanks button through PayPal, which really supports these types of research videos. So I'm out here trying to document something, and this trip is for you guys. This is for David. This is for the people that enjoy the videos from the killing fields. I know a lot of people haven't seen the killing fields before, and they always ask, why do you call it the killing fields? We call it the killing fields because down there in those giant cattle fields, when David was having Bigfoot activity, we would find deers, like dead deer out in the fields, turkeys, and he'd find deers with their front legs broken, their heads twisted like a Twizzler, and he's documented some of that, and it's in some of my past videos. But in case people are wondering why it's called the killing fields, that's why, because there was a lot of animals dying. He had a lot of calves, a lot of cattle go missing, and it's still happening today. There's animals that just go missing, never to be seen again. And also people have mentioned that could be alien activity, which it very well could be. Maybe the cryptid creatures are connected with the UFOs and aliens, but that is a far stretch, and I don't know. But science doesn't have an answer. The government won't tell us, so maybe it's connected. I mean, if it was just an unknown creature, I feel like the government would be a little bit more open and towards telling the people what it truly is. So maybe it is, guys. But I've never seen a Bigfoot come out of a UFO. I have seen UFOs, and I've had some strange experiences with aliens that I'm not going to get into right now, but I've never had a reason to believe that it's connected with aliens and UFOs, other than the same area that I've had Bigfoot encounters and experiences in. I've seen strange crafts flying in the sky. And the orbs, that's a little strange. The mind speak that people claim, that sounds like something that aliens or angels and demons can do. And the cloaking, people have claimed that they see this invisible creature, like in liquid form, moving through the woods, or something invisible following them, which does sound like angel, alien, demon activity. So it's really hard to say. I'm definitely open-minded towards any possibility, and that's why the channel's called Sasquatch Theory. But yeah, we're out here in the Ozarks, and we are going to do some research. We're going to give it hell. I'll show you guys my camp, what's going on around here. I'll throw the drone up in the air. We'll use thermal audio recorders, and that's the best we can do, is just spend time out here. And like I said, I don't have a thermal satellite in space. I don't have a lab, and yeah. Yeah, he's playing in the leaves. It's hilarious. He's such a good boy. Let me film this because it's so funny. It's just, I can't get over that. Look at him. He is having the time of his life. He's just being a good dog, Hopefully he doesn't run off, and that's my biggest fear, is that I will lose Yowie in a giant forest. And if that happens, I will be extremely upset. He's playing in the leaves. He loves it, guys. Apparently he was the star of the show last time. People really loved Yowie. I mean, he's a good companion, and I love him. Yowie, come here. Come say hi to the camera. Look at him just burying his head in the leaves. That's hilarious. Yowie. But yeah, let me show you guys the forest around here so you can kind of get a feel of what I'm looking at. Which I'll throw the drone up so you guys can see, but let me zoom in back here so you guys can see how much woods there is. Oh, okay, Yowie. Mess up my filming. But yeah, that's the direction where the cryptid creatures are coming from. And that's the conservation area. So yeah, all of that. I mean, everything around us is pretty much conservation area. We got about 30,000 acres around us, and it's all forest. There are no houses in this conservation area. This farm borders up to it, and yeah, it's just huge. All right, so this is the camper. This is where we're staying at. And I want to give a big shout out to David and Linda for letting me use the camper. I really appreciate that. We have the fold-out Cabela's chair as usual. It's amazing if you want to look at the stars, relax, and just kick back. We have the parabolic dish, which we're definitely going to use. It looks like it's a little bent. It's starting to get scratched up, but I'll try to repaint that. And yeah, you guys have seen it before. The tripod that I use is the 4th Arrow tripod stand, which is fairly decent. It does fall apart and break, but it works really good as far as the swivel mount. I really do like that. I mean, it works really, really well. I got another one over here. So I got 3 of them. Over here is the box with all the goodies and pots and pans, toiletry. You guys know the deal. So let me show you guys inside the camper, which I never got a camper because they're expensive, and apparently the new ones fall apart. There's the bed. It's a pretty good sized bed. We got some cabinets, a bunch of lights, which is good. We need to see when we're out here. Here's the bathroom. So pretty small toilet. Is there a shower in there? Oh my gosh, there is. There is a shower in there. There's a lot of stuff in here, so I won't be able to use that. We won't have running water, but I do have water outside. And yeah, here's the kitchen. So we have the sink, the stove, which is a really nice stove. I like that. That's gonna help me out a lot because that's what takes the most time whenever I'm out here camping is cooking food. So that'll be nice. We got a propane tank outside, and yeah, we're gonna make sure everything's off. Nothing's running. Yeah, we got a microwave. That'll be really nice. And we got a bunch of food. I went and got some beef jerky, some trail mix. I got my Live It Up vitamins because I definitely need it. Wheat bread. We have some flaming hot lemon Doritos. Some dog treats for the puppy. And some seasoning salt because the stuff I had before was just not working out. I bought some salt at Walmart, and in one little container it has like black pepper, salt, Cajun seasoning, and it's all like rock hard, and it doesn't taste very good. But excuse me. Here we got more crackers, some tortillas, and some kiwis. Gotta have some kiwis, they're good for you. Apples, oranges, jalapenos, some golden sweet corn. What do we got over here? Some green beans. I bet those things are about like 2 years old, but I'm sure they're still good. Okay, so here's the gear. You guys have seen the gear before. We have the DJI Mini 2 drone. It doesn't have thermal or night vision. It's just a plain old drone. They got newer ones out now, and I haven't updated yet. If you guys want to help with getting a new drone, I would really like the Matrice. I think it's called the 30T DJI drone. I really want that one. I can't afford it, but if people make donations, watch the videos, we might be able to get it, and that's maybe. But right over here is the GoPro 11. You guys have seen that before. We have the Olympus 720 DM audio recorder inside this PVC pipe, and there it is. There's the audio recorder. We have the windshield on there, and inside I just sprayed some foam in there, and it needs to be resprayed because the recorder will fall out every now and then, so I got to stick some stuff up in there and kind of, I don't know, make it hold the recorder. But it's got a hook on top, and that's really handy. This is the best Sasquatch camcorder you can get, which, yeah, we chewed up the back a little bit. I'm not happy about that. And it's a Panasonic camcorder. They make a bunch of different types, but they're all relatively the same. This one has 4K, and it can zoom in super far. It has pretty good video, and it can take some really good pictures. What I like about it is it has an audio recorder at the top, and it has a windshield, so that really does help out a lot. And I really like it because it's like the size of a soda can, and you can fit this thing in your pocket, your backpack, your vehicle, and I have 2 of them. This one's a little bit different than my other one, but like I said, they can basically do the same thing. Another thing I like about this is it has, oh man, I don't know if you guys can see that, it has a camera right there. So you can be recording yourself and what's going on in front of you at the same time. It's got night vision on there though. That's another thing that I really like about it. It has pretty good night vision. So if you guys are looking into a camera to film Sasquatch activity with, this is what I would recommend. Stop trying to take Sasquatch photos with your cell phone because they're all blurry. People are taking, I don't know, these photos with their cell phones and like circling it red, and it's like this blurry black shape out in the woods, and you can't even make a distinction with the leaves, the limbs, the trees. Like everything's blurry. So I'm not seeing Sasquatch, but apparently a lot of people are. And I'm not ridiculing you guys. I'm just saying if you want to get a better shot, get this. Because cell phones are not cutting it. Not when you're trying to like film or take a picture of something super far away. That's just not working out for me. And it's not helping the subject, okay? You guys have seen it before. I want to upgrade this backpack because there's newer ones out there. They're way better. And yeah, this thing's worked out pretty well so far. But David's let me use his Jackery battery bank, and I have mine over here. So that's going to be awesome. And I bought some stuff for Adam. Adam, I got you a new Rode microphone. It's the Video Mic Go 2. And I hear you breathing a lot in your videos, and I feel like if this thing's facing outward, like away from you on top of the camera, you'll be back there and this will be recording what's in front of you. I think that will really help you out a lot because I had the same issue as well, and I had to get that lined out because you'd hear me breathing or walking on sticks, and it was really hard to get good audio. But yeah, I have the battle helmet. I call it the Squatch helmet, and it's got the Walker ear buds. I don't know what it's called. The earmuffs. They're the razors. Pretty cool because they connect to the Squatch helmet. And it's got the 720 DM audio recorder. You guys have seen that before. I got the attachment for the Pulsar thermal, which that thing was really expensive. Just that attachment cost almost 200 bucks. So that helmet's not cheap. And the helmet itself actually was on Amazon because it's not metal. It's like made for airsoft. But once I put everything together with the thermal on there, it's like, whoa, that's a lot of money there. I don't know if that was a good investment, but I like it a lot. But yeah, here's the fridge. We got the freezer, the fridge. some cabinets. Okay, cool. There's some paper towels and all kinds of stuff in there. And I just love the windows in here. You can see outside, and it's just beautiful out there. I love this thing. I want to get one, guys, but again, there's only so much I can get. I want to focus on the thermal drone. I've even put back getting a newer vehicle, and I'm keeping the old Danger Ranger because it's working out good, guys. I don't see a reason to buy a brand new truck, and they're like, you can put down a down payment on a house for how much a brand new truck costs. I mean, you can put down more than just a down payment. You can get pretty much half the house paid off for what these new vehicles cost, and they're not worth it, guys. A lot of them are junk. They got a lot of issues, and yeah, I mean, by the time, let's say 6 years passes by and you're still paying payments on it, that truck's not worth half that price anymore. As soon as you drive it off the lot, it's not worth that anymore. So it's really hard to get a new vehicle nowadays. I mean, I can get a newer vehicle, but I'm not buying a brand new vehicle like all these other YouTubers. That's just ridiculous. I don't really care about looking flashy, and I don't care what people think about me. You guys already know, if I fall and smash my face on camera, I'm putting it up in the video. I don't care if I look stupid. If it happens, it happens. Little raccoon right here holding the keys. If your keys ever went missing, it's because a raccoon took it. But yeah, look at that view. Look at that. Boom, the Ozarks. Even Yowie's enjoying it. He's just checking it out. He loves it in here. He's such a good dog. Such a good dog. I love Yowie. But yeah, this is it, guys. It'll be night number 1. I've had a lot of dogman reports from this particular area, so that does creep me out. A lot of people have mentioned the animals that have been mutilated out here could be from dogman, which is kind of frightening. But I've thought about it myself, and you never know what's out here in these woods. I'm sure everything is. We got Moose Man out here, Deer Man. I'm not saying the actual name of it. I'm sure they're out here. Dog Man's out here. Possibly Mothman. We know Sasquatch lives out here because we're in the boonies. Sasquatch have been reported all over Missouri. And yeah, there's wood boogers out here, guys. So what we're going to do now is set up some audio recorders. It's going to be the same process that we always do. And yeah, it may get boring, but that's what we do out here when we are researching for Bigfoot. And you never know, something's going to happen. This time I'm going to get it a little bit further away from camp. I mean, I have it a good 100 yards away, but I can still hear us talking at camp, and I don't want that. I want nothing but nature in the audio recordings. And yeah, I appreciate every single one of you for watching these videos. And if you guys can't watch them, I completely understand. There's like 10 billion videos on YouTube, if not more. And I honestly don't know how many videos are on YouTube, but yeah, I don't blame you guys for not watching the channel. And yeah, I get so overwhelmed with life that I don't even have time to watch a channel to watch TV. So I completely understand. And yeah, I don't blame you guys. But if you guys are watching, I appreciate it, and that really does mean a lot to me. It helps the research continue, and if a lot of people get upset that no one's out there looking, it's because you're not supporting channels like mine. And yeah, I understand. Look at Yowie, he's taking a dump. He's taking a dump, guys. One thing I can say is it's been really hard to determine if the Sasquatch are around here, and there's just so much woods. But this time I have Yowie, and he will let me know if something is off. But another thing I don't like about that is if the Sasquatch are being tipped off by the dog, they may try to take out the dog. So I got to keep an eye on Yowie. And yeah, dogs go missing because they give away the Sasquatch's location. But yeah, let's get to work. We're running out of daylight, and it's about to get dark soon. So I'll tune back in with you guys soon. All right, so what we're gonna do now is turn on the audio recorder, make sure it switches to on automatically tonight. And let me see. All right, we're turning the preset on. I don't know if You guys can see that. And see what time it should turn on. It's 6:30. It's got to be about 6:30 now. So we turn the recorder off and it'll automatically turn on its own. You got to make sure that it's completely off though, because if it's turned on already, it won't start recording. So basically I got a stick right here that I got to shove in there, and it holds the recorder in there because that foam is starting to stretch out. Yeah, the wind has been blowing and it's kind of annoying, but hopefully it calms down tonight. I don't know if it will. If it doesn't, we're going to have some rough audio, but if something happens, hopefully it picks it up. That's the best I can do. But yeah, we have the audio pod set up. Let's get out there and set this thing up on a tree. And yeah, hopefully we get something, guys. All right, so we're setting up the audio recorder in this tree. It overlooks the killing fields. It's about, I'd say, 150 yards away from camp, so we shouldn't hear me talking whenever I'm filming. But I like this spot because it's a big ridge and it overlooks all these fields, and we should be able to hear everything around us. Hopefully something comes around camp tonight, and yeah, hopefully they're a little friendly, because if things go wrong, you know, you just never know what can happen. But yeah, I'm excited to be out here, and I think if we do hear some vocalizations, this thing should pick it up. But if they're coming from the other side of camp, I do have 2 other audio recorders ready to deploy. I'm just not going to set up so many audio recorders in the area, because it's just throwing a random dart and hoping that it hits its target. But I feel like if I have them on hand and I hear something going on over here, I can just go over there and set it up, and that seems to work best. And that's what I heard Ron Moorhead do in the Sierra Nevadas. Was he was hearing the Sasquatch on a certain mountain, and they carried this audio recorder up there and set it down. And that's what I did in the Mark Twain National Forest before I ever heard that Ron Moorhead did that, because I never heard the backstory. I just heard the audio recordings, and then later on I learned that's what he did, and that's basically what I did. The Sasquatch were wood knocking around a guy's property and they were vocalizing, and I just went over there and set up an audio recorder, and I got some awesome wood knocks, some tree breaks, and one of them pushed over a tree. Unfortunately, I didn't get any crazy vocalizations because they were just so far off in the woods, but yeah, that seems to be what works best. If you hear something, go put an audio recorder out there, because if you're just randomly putting up audio recorders out in the woods, all you're going to get is coyotes, owls, and the sounds of nature, which is cool, but I'm out here to capture Sasquatch activity. So yeah, with this audio recorder, it's pretty much throwing a dart, but something might happen and I will capture it, hopefully. But yeah, keep you guys tuned in and we'll keep things rolling. So all the activity that has taken place out here at the killing fields has really intrigued me, and what I found to be very interesting is the wood knocks that they've heard, the whoops, the dead animals in the fields, and the orbs that they have seen. And yeah, on the other side of the property in the conservation area, I talk about this all the time, there was a bow hunter that was in his tree stand, and he saw this Sasquatch creature walking across the field, and it really terrified him. I think that was reported on the BFRO website. I'm not really sure, but there was another encounter, and Adam from the Half Inch Wrench crew told me about this encounter. And basically these guys had a camper set up just like this in the conservation area during the deer hunting season. They killed a white-tailed deer, and they were inside the camper, and at nighttime when they opened up the door, looked outside, there were 2 Sasquatch creatures eating the guts from this deer, and they were like looking up at them, and those guys were terrified. I was never able to get their sighting logged down on the channel, and I don't think they're around anymore, but yeah, that's really close to where that bow hunter seen that Sasquatch walking across the field. I mean, it's pretty much in the same area. But yeah, this area is pretty pretty spooky, especially at nighttime. I like exploring out here during the day, but at nighttime you just get this dark feeling, like you're being watched, like something's around. And just the fact that there's so much woods in this area is just scary alone. I wouldn't want to get lost out here, that's for sure. But yeah, I'm really hoping for some action tonight. And at the same time, I won't be surprised if I don't experience anything. Like I said, I've talked to a ton of hunters and some really experienced hunters that have never had Sasquatch activity in their life, which is very interesting because there's certain people that go out in the woods and they experience Sasquatch activity left and right. It seems like anywhere they go, something happens. And I always think about the term being marked or tagged by these creatures, which I think is true because the same thing happened to me. And it's just unusual that other hunters are in the same areas and don't experience anything ever in their life. So there is that. A majority of people will never experience Bigfoot activity, and if they did, they wouldn't recognize it, and it just doesn't register. Everything can be explained, and yeah, if you've never seen one of these things, it's really hard to believe, but there are a lot of researchers out there that have never seen these things, and they're out there researching, and they believe in the Sasquatch, and they're out there looking for evidence, which it's good to be open-minded, but at the same time, it really does take a sighting to really hammer down on the research. I'm hoping David comes back up here. He said he might, and I'd just like to have some company. I think Adam from the wrench crew is supposed to be here on Wednesday, and it's Monday right now. Today's St. Patty's Day. Of course, by the time you guys are watching this, St. Patty's will be far behind us because it's going to take me a while to put together this footage, and I'm just really behind on the channel, as always, which is good. Always got something to keep me busy, whether it's reading off emails, which I hardly get a chance to do, but I am logging down people's reports and I'm saving them. So if you did send something and you're wondering why your story didn't get read off, it did get read, but maybe not on video, and I am logging everything down, and you never know, one day it might be up on the channel. And I'm not dismissing anyone's accounts, so if you just get a vague response from me, it's because I'm pretty busy. I'm trying to put together some podcasts, figure out some tactics, and yeah, it's just a lot of work. I plan on writing a book in the future. I want to put together a book of all the Sasquatch activity that I've experienced, and then I want to make another book about all the paranormal and UFO stuff that I've experienced. I feel like it's important to share that. And yeah, I won't be around forever, guys, so it'd be cool to get all that out there for the people. But I'm just really hoping that I can get these creatures on film, and I talk about that all the time. I got nothing to prove, but I just enjoy filming, and it's my passion, and I really like looking for these creatures. Even though they can squash me like a bug, I like being out in nature. And once you see a whitetail so many times, especially mature whitetails, eventually you get burnt out on it. Some people never do, which that's okay, but I've seen the Sasquatch, so now seeing a huge whitetail buck or seeing a bunch of turkeys cross the road just doesn't light that fire for me anymore. It doesn't give me that dopamine rush like it used to. And when I experience Sasquatch activity, it's like, oh yeah. Especially when I hear a wood knock, then I'm like, did you hear that? I still don't get as excited as I used to whenever I experience Sasquatch activity, but the fire is still there. And yeah, I mean, life gets boring and you're always looking for that next thrill. But I'm learning to be satisfied with the small things in life, and it's really helped me out a lot. One thing that's really helped me out in my life is practicing gratitude, being thankful for the small things. Like, wow, I got a car, I got gas in my car, that's amazing. Oh my God, there's fresh water coming out of my faucet, how cool. To where before I overlooked those things, and we forget to be thankful for what we have, and we're always looking for things that we don't have, and we forget the blessings that are given to us, which I feel like a lot of people, especially Americans, they do that a lot. They overlook the blessings they have, and they're always seeking some new thrill or being disappointed because they don't have all these other things, and they easily forget what we have. And we live in the greatest country on this planet, and it's just a blessing to be out in nature. So a lot of people are complaining about their lives, but they never even go out in nature, and if they do, they don't appreciate it. But if you can learn to appreciate leaves falling off a tree, I believe you can learn to appreciate the things that you do have. The sun is going down, and it's just a beautiful view here. I can see miles into the forest, and one thing that does spook me is hogs will try to kill dogs, especially puppies. I don't know if that's true. I've heard it from several people, and apparently the hogs don't like dogs either, because they either try to kill the piglets, or they give away the hog's location, or they'll chase the hogs. I'm not really sure, but I did take a Sasquatch report in the Mark Twain National Forest by the Big Piney River, and the guy said that Sasquatch or Dogman came into his camp, and the hogs were in there before he realized Sasquatch was there. And apparently some of the hogs were really big. They could have been anywhere from 200 to 500 pounds. I'm not really sure, but they had a bunch of little piglets, and they were trying to kill his dog, which is terrifying to think. And they even try to get the campers, which is extremely scary. Who knows, maybe a group of hogs will come in here and just tear up camp. If they do, I'm gonna take action for sure, and I'll be cooking up bacon the next morning. But I don't expect anything to happen, and that's okay, guys. Sometimes no activity is okay with me, because I'm out here in nature, and the goal is to camp, not to experience Bigfoot activity every time. And I feel like if there's a channel out there that's getting activity or footage every single time they go out, you should be questioning that channel, whether they're making it up, or questioning the fact that, man, these guys are getting a lot of activity. They must be in a really hot area. The Sasquatch are on their property. You never know, it could go both ways. And again, I'm open-minded. I'm not ridiculing anyone. There was a point where I was having activity like every week or every 2 weeks. Like I would find something, whether it was gifting, hearing them stomp the ground, push over trees, scream in the woods, visit the property where they're walking in the wood line. And yeah, I'm certainly open-minded, because I was having a ton of activity in the summer of 2019. In 2018, I had a sighting by the Merrimack River, and going back to the 2019 stuff in the summer. So I seen the Sasquatch that was probably about 6 to 8 feet tall, jet black, white stripes going down his back. I saw him in June. And then in July, 3 weeks later, I seen the juvenile. So if somebody is having a lot of activity, I'm not dismissing your experiences, especially if somebody's seen them anywhere from like 10 to 20 times. That's not too far out there for me. If you talk to other researchers, they may write you off and say, okay, this guy's had so many encounters, and I've never seen one. This guy must be lying. Let's not do an interview with him. And I bet a lot of big channels do that, because on some of these big shows, they only interview somebody who's had maybe like one or three things happen. Maybe they had one sighting and a few experiences, but rarely do I hear on these big channels or these big platforms where they interview people like me, where it's like they've had like 10 different things happen, and like, a majority of them are sightings and a ton of experiences, which I believe. Until they start sending me pareidolia photos, like 50 pareidolia photos, like, here's my sightings, it's kind of hard to believe that. But whenever it's from a hunter that I can tell knows a lot about the outdoors, a lot about hunting, and he describes the activity in full detail, and it's got a backstory, I definitely believe it. But whenever it's like, yep, I seen one out my window, here's Frogman, here's Dogman, here's a reptilian, here's a Mothman, and it's all like blurry photos, and there's no backstory, it's just, I'll put it up on the channel, but at the same time, I'll be questioning it for sure. I'm not going to ridicule the person, I won't say anything, but I remain neutral and open-minded because I wasn't there. And yeah, even if they're blurry photos, if that's what they say they saw, then okay, that's fine by me. But I do have standards, and there is like a criteria that I'm looking for. But I post certain interviews on the channel because I don't want to ridicule the person, okay? So yeah, some stuff does seem far out there, and there's not much of a, like, there's not much detail or backstory behind their sightings. That is questionable. And yeah, I interviewed a guy from Ohio a while back, and he said a dog man came into his house, he shot it. I asked him if he collected blood, he said no. I asked him what type of shotgun he was using, he was like, I don't know what he said like a red shotgun. And that raised some red flags, because it's like, you don't even know what caliber shotgun it was. What are you doing shooting a shotgun? But again, I think it was just some kid that hopped on the show, but I don't have any evidence to say he was lying. I just think he may have made some stuff up. I don't know how to say that, but yeah, you do get those people every now and then, and it's part of the job that I do. And if you try to make a big deal or a big scene about it, then somehow you get a bad reputation. So you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. And I just try to remain neutral, because what can I do? I'd be pretty ticked off if people didn't believe me, which there's a lot of people that don't, especially when you've had a lot of experiences, a lot of encounters with Sasquatch. And people ask me all the time, how many have you seen? And I tell them, that's hard to say. 3 close encounters where I know without a doubt it was them, but it's hard to give a number on how many sightings I've had, because one night they showed up and I hit them with the spotlight and there was eyes everywhere out there. I thought it was deer until one of the eyes went up to about 10 to 13 feet. And that's why I can't give an exact number, because it's like, I don't know how many were there that night. And then I heard something walking through the wood line, and I shined the spotlight in a gap in the woods where I knew this thing was going to walk through a clearing. And once I saw that whitish gray Sasquatch, I knew exactly what that eye shine was, because that white Sasquatch walked up to that eye shine, and there's no deer that would stand up to like 10 or 13 feet tall. And that's why when people say, oh, they're bigger in Alaska, it's like, we have the same exact thing going on here. So all those people that are saying, oh, they're meaner and they're bigger in Alaska, maybe, but what I seen lines up with what people have seen in Alaska. I mean, this thing was a freaking mountain giant. And earlier that year, like I said, in 2019 in the summertime, what I had seen was nothing compared to what I seen that fall night when I hit the Sasquatch with the spotlight. Because when the eye shine rose up like an elevator to like 10 or 13 feet high, I thought to myself, holy shit, there's bigger ones out there. What I encountered in the summer, that must have been like juveniles or females, because I thought they were big, which they were. They were pretty darn robust. But what I saw in the fall was prehistoric. Like, how can something that big hide out there in the woods? Something that huge. I mean, we're talking about, let's just say 12 feet tall, give or take. I don't have an explanation as to how they can hide so well, but I do believe there's something supernatural going on, interdimensional, whatever you want to call it. And that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. Hopefully the wind dies down so I can deploy the parabolic dish, maybe throw up the drone. It might be a little too dark for the drone now, but yeah. These things are out here, guys. Hopefully they show up. I say it all the time. Hopefully they come into camp and terrorize me, and I'll be regretting that later. People say be careful what you wish for. Well, I hope they come into camp. But if they do, I don't know how I will react. And yeah, Adam said that he's been having some heart issues. I think they got down to it possibly being like a panic attack. But that's scary to think about, because like if the Sasquatch did come into camp and they were being very territorial, like you could easily have a heart attack, easily. And that's scary, because you know, we're way out here in the woods. There's no cell phone signal. Adam's a big boy, a big guy, and yeah, it'd just be scary to see one of your friends go down. And I was having heart issues a few years ago, which could have been anxiety, but I was in my deer stand, and I was hunting a farm property, one of my buddy's properties, which is an excellent place to deer hunt. I've seen some monsters out there, absolute monsters out there. And some deer came out, and I was drinking an energy drink, which I think that was the cause of it. But the deer came out, and my heart started racing. Like I could see my heart like fluttering underneath like my clothes, and it hurt really bad. And it was going. I had to put my bow down and just start breathing, because I was afraid I was gonna die in my deer stand. It was freaking me out. But yeah, that being said, if a deer can get your heart racing like that, and just a doe, like it wasn't even a monster buck, imagine what the Sasquatch can do. When I encountered the Sasquatch, my heart didn't race. Like I was in complete shock, to where nothing else mattered. I was just like dialed in, focused on what was right there in the woods, and I watched it the whole time. Nothing else mattered. I could have had a camera on me, a firearm, and I would have never thought about grabbing it. Like I was so dialed in that you could have slapped me on the back of the head and I just would have kept staring. But yeah, I talked about that before, that it seemed like any thought that was going on in my mind was just like vacuumed out of my brain. Nothing else mattered in that moment. But yeah, let's start doing some research, guys. I'll shut up now. I've probably been talking for about 20 or 30 minutes now. It's just absolutely beautiful out here. Hopefully the wind calms down, and yeah, I think the audio recorder might be going off. Oh yeah, the audio recorder's on. It turned on at 6:30. It's 7:11 right now. Kind of a lucky number. Yeah. Oh, 7:12 now. But yeah, hopefully we get something, guys. And my biggest fear is the audio recorder will not turn on, which sometimes for some reason it doesn't turn on. I'm not sure exactly why. And like I said, if it's already on, it won't start recording. It has to be turned off for the automatic timer to turn on the recorder. So you set the recorder for 6:30 p.m. If it's turned off, boom, it turns on the audio recorder and starts recording until the designated time. So I think it's going to shut off around 4 a.m. in the morning. But yeah, if it's already on, it won't turn on, or it won't start recording. So it's kind of tricky. But yeah, it's happened a bunch of times, especially when the Sasquatch are vocalizing. That happened at Adam's place from the wrench crew. The Sasquatch came up whenever everybody went to bed. They whooped 2 times. Without a doubt, it was Sasquatch, and my recorder did not turn on. One of the other guys that was researching in the area that's very skeptical of the existence of Bigfoot, his recorder turned on and he captured it, but he thinks it was us whooping, but it wasn't. We did whoop before that when we were awake, and after the Sasquatch whooped that night when we were in bed. I wish I wouldn't have whooped after I got up. I was trying to get them to do it again, but I think that caused some doubt in some people, because nobody knew what was a Sasquatch and what was Well, it was us doing vocalizations, which is confusing, but yeah. I just got to make sure that I'm not out there just wood knocking and doing calls, because when you have an audio recorder out there, it's kind of hard to say, like, okay, which ones were us and which ones were them. So I'm going to try not to do as many knocks tonight. And, oh, I got a message. Kind of weird. Nope, wasn't a message. It was a notification. I haven't had very good service out here, so you know that's a good area. You know you're deep in the wilderness when your phone doesn't work. All right, Yowie's demeanor changed a little bit. I don't think he's on to anything, but he is acting, I don't know, I guess tired. He's not as excited as he was. Yeah, he's just tired. But he did seem a little concerned before I started recording. He's just kind of sitting next to me, and I don't know. You could tell that something was on his mind, like he was worried. But you never know. We'll watch the dog and kind of gauge his reactions in case something is around. He's very intelligent. He's a good boy, and he's my best buddy. So he's gonna let me know if the Sasquatch show up, and if they do, he's gonna start growling. That's how we're gonna know. It might be a deer out there. It might be a raccoon. You never know. But he's gonna let us know. And when I camped at the Mark Twain National Forest, whenever it snowed the last time, he would growl, run into the tent, and then a wood knock would happen. So yeah, he's dozing off. Oh, poor little guy. He's worn out. It was a long trip. We've done a lot of packing and a lot of running around, but we're finally settled in, and it should be a pretty good night. But yeah, I get a lot of people saying, why are you walking around the woods so much? You need to stay at camp and let them come into you. So whenever I do that, that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to start just staying at camp and just enjoying camping. And the goal is to see if they come in, because that does work. And whenever I stay at camp, there's a majority of people that say, why are you staying at camp? Why aren't you walking around the woods? So you can't win. If you walk around the woods, people are saying you're never going to find them by doing that, and you're making so much noise, you need to let them come into you. True. So that's what I'm doing. But if you stay at camp, people are saying, why aren't you going out in the woods? It's like, oh my gosh. I'm going to do what works best for me. And yeah, I am tired of just stomping through the woods and going everywhere, which is good to do. You have to explore, you have to scout, and you have to see what else is out there. And I do think that works, because a lot of reports that I've gotten is from people that have been camping, they were cooking food, playing music, hanging out, and these things came in. And I've had that happen to me several times. And that seems to be how it works, especially when you're hunting. You're just calling in turkeys or sitting in your deer stand, and then something happens. It seems like these things are attracted to people. But yeah, whenever you're just stomping through the woods, you're scaring everything around, and it's really hard to do that unless you're being super stealthy, quiet, observing what's around you, and moving through the woods very slowly and quietly. Yeah. But yeah, as far as just going through the woods with the machete and cutting through all this brush, that's not realistic. And I've seen researchers do that. They act like they're in Africa looking for mountain gorillas, and they're just chopping through brush, and yeah, that doesn't work with Sasquatch. But yeah, I do believe that Yowie will be a lot better than a parabolic dish. His ears are natural. He's got his nose, and he's got his sixth sense, so he's going to be able to pick up on the activity well before this parabolic dish. So that will be key in knowing if the Sasquatch are in camp or around camp well before I'm even aware that anything's around me. But the parabolic dish does help, because I can't just rely on a puppy to pick up on Bigfoot activity. Nope, he went inside the camper. He's probably tired. He's not growling or anything. I think he's just really worn out. If you guys enjoy Sasquatch Theory, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, and if you have a Bigfoot encounter you would like to share with me, contact me sometime at sasquatchtheory@outlook.com. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to quit filming, I'm going to quit talking, and I'm just going to sit here and listen on the parabolic dish. And if something happens, I'll flip on the camera and I'll keep you guys updated on what happens at the killing fields. All right, it's about dark time, and yeah, we're almost in complete pitch black darkness. If you guys see another camper back there, that's David's other camper, or a family member's camper. So it's not a big campground, there's just another one up here. And yeah, his family member likes to come up here and spend time out in the wilderness. He likes to hunt up here. So yeah, it's not a big giant campground, there's just 2 campers here and it's owned by the same family. But yeah, he was acting a little strange. He had the nose up in the air, he was sniffing around, and you can tell that he was onto something. There was something in the area, so it was probably like a possum or raccoon or something, but he was definitely using that nose. All right, time to turn on the night vision mode, and I'll keep you guys updated. It's starting to get chilly, the wind's dying down a little bit, it's still blowing, but I have high hopes for this trip. And if nothing happens, hey, we're out here doing research, and a lot of people have supported the channel, so that's why we're here. And what better way to experience Bigfoot activity than to be out in the woods? Yeah, stop biting me. Stop biting me. He's nipping a lot less, but he's still doing it. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is take Yowie down towards the killing fields, and I'm just going to watch and see how he reacts. When we went down there just a bit ago, he was acting a little strange, so I think it's worth taking a walk, bring in the thermal device, and we'll turn on the night vision mode and we'll see what's going on. This fire feels excellent because the temperature is definitely dropping, and I did not bring a coat, but we'll be all right, maybe. All right, before we walk down there, you can see a light in the woods. That's David's porch light, and it is visible from here. Even though it's a long ways off, you can see it through the trees during the fall time. And yeah, it's hard to pick up on the camera, but that's kind of like what the orbs look like, but they're moving through the woods. We'll see if we can film one. All right, night vision mode on, my friends. Yeah, I thought you were tired. All right, so we'll see how Yowie reacts. Come here, bro. Come here. Come here. Come here. Stop using my hand as a chew toy. Yowie, sit. Sit. Yowie, sit. Good boy. Good boy. All right, Yowie. Hey, hey, I need your attention. All right, he's got the zoomies. Nope. He is on to something. What are you sniffing? What is it? Oh. What is it? I had to put him on a leash because he was running around like crazy. Come on. Come on. Let's go. All right, so we're making our way to the killing fields, and we'll see if anything happens. seems to be doing all right. See if we can see that IR. No, I don't think he can. Alright, it seems to be pretty quiet tonight, and the wind is still blowing, which is a bummer, but it's expected this time of year. I fired off an owl call, and an animal took off running around the other camper. I'm not sure what it was, but yeah, we picked up on the activity, and he kind of went over there and barked a little bit, but he didn't seem to be too aggravated by whatever it was, but he was aware. So it does seem like Yowie's working out really well for what I'm trying to do, as far as letting me know if something's around. And it's good to have an early warning system in case these things do come in, because you never know what could happen. And yeah, he's on it, which is good. And he seems to be a really good dog. I mean, I'm really proud of him, and he's just a puppy. So it's amazing how intelligent Yowie is. And again, he's an Australian Shepherd, and yeah, it just seems like he's naturally trained. Like, a lot of things I don't even have to show him. Like, he already knows how to fetch, he knows how to sit, how to lay down, where his bed is. If something's around, he lets me know, he stays with me. And yeah, it's almost like he already knows how to heel, which pretty much he sticks to my leg. Anywhere I go, he goes, and he just wants to be around me the whole time, which is good. That's exactly what I wanted from a dog. And yeah, I'm just really proud of him. Of course, he's a puppy, he's got a lot of energy. Sometimes he doesn't want to listen, but it's not like he runs off and just takes off through the woods, which a lot of dogs will do that. And it's really frustrating when you get a dog and he just takes off running and doesn't stop, and you have to chase him down, or you get a call from the pound saying they got your dog, and if it happens again, you got to go to court. That's annoying. And I mean, dogs are dogs, but yeah, I'm really proud of him. Hopefully whenever he gets older, he doesn't just start doing his own thing. I'm trying to train him right now while he's young, and one of the biggest things I've been trying to do with him is teaching him to not jump up on people, not to nip, which he's teething. So I mean, how I fixed that was by getting him a bunch of toys. Basically, when he starts biting me, I'll give him his toy and he'll start chewing on it, and it seems to work. Or if he's jumping up on people, I give him a toy and it kind of distracts his mind. And yeah, like when you're trying to potty train him or teach him something, I mean, he easily gets distracted. A leaf could blow by and he's just on it. So yeah, hopefully nothing bad happens being out in the woods, because I would really be devastated if he got hurt by some type of wild animal, or if he went missing and, you know, one of these things took him. That would really bum me out. And that's one thing I'm really watching out for at my place, because I had 2 dogs go missing during that time frame when I had Sasquatch encounters, and the dogs were just acting really weird. They were German Shepherds, and they weren't full they weren't full breeds, but they were German Shepherds, or they had some of that in their genetics. And yeah, it was horrible, because you knew something was out there in the woods. The dogs were acting really funny. They were constantly barking at the wood line, and they wouldn't stay in their pens, they wouldn't stay in the house. They would just take off running and go into the woods and bark their heads off nonstop, which during that time I thought, these dogs have lost it. Like, they don't listen, they're just barking into the woods mindlessly. And that wasn't the case. After I had my sightings, I realized, like, wow, I thought these dogs were just dumb. Like, honestly, I didn't know what they were doing. Like, I just thought they were barking at trees. And you'll see that a lot. Like, whenever people have dogs, they'll just bark, 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 bark. But what I have learned from that situation is, if your dog's just mindlessly barking nonstop, it's not because he's stupid. There's something going on that you're not aware of, because dogs aren't just going to bark for no reason unless they're just chained up 24/7, which it's a shame people do that. You know, you should get a pen. If you can't have them inside the house, at least get like a fenced in area and keep them out there. But yeah, dogs are very intelligent. If they're barking nonstop, there's something. Even if it's a squirrel living in a tree, they're barking at something. Or maybe somebody's cat, like a neighbor's cat, is like coming around the property and you just don't know it. But yeah, animals are definitely really smart. One thing that's blowing my mind right now is how many stars are out here. You can see every single star, and it's just insane. Like at my place, you can see a ton of stars. It's pretty impressive, but when you're out here, it's just like glitter in the sky. It's, I don't know, it's mind-blowing. And one of the biggest reasons I wanted to come out here was just to connect with God. I wanted to be out in nature and just experience God's beauty and try to connect with him. I just feel like you can pray over and over and over and nothing happens. You get discouraged. You feel like God's not listening to you, but I feel like he is. And when you go out into nature and just try to do something different, you can possibly get different results. If anything, you can connect with yourself and find yourself again, which that's hard to do sometimes with the things that we're expected to do, how busy we can get in our lives, and the difficulties that we're faced with. If any of you guys are going through a hard time, definitely just, hang in there, because you have to. I mean, a lot of people are going through some type of illness, a loss, or maybe like a terrible breakup, or somebody's like homeless, and things can get really hard. Maybe somebody's alone every single day, and it's almost like you're living in like the show Alone. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, where people go out to like Vancouver Island and try to survive. The show's called Alone, and some people actually live that daily. They don't have anyone to talk to, they don't have any friends, no family, and every day is an episode of Alone for them. And I think that's one of the hardest things for the people on that show, is when they go out there, is being alone. Because a lot of the people go out there wanting to win that $500,000 prize, and when they get out there, they realize like, hey, I'm just sitting out in the woods and I'm pretty much bear bait, and my family's at home suffering. Like, is that money worth it? It sounds good whenever you're at home and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna win this is gonna be good for my family. But when you're out there, it's like, this isn't good for my family. And yeah, that's one thing that helps me whenever I'm out here all alone in the wilderness, is talking to the camera. And it really helps me. It distracts my mind. I'm staying busy, and I feel like I'm doing more. I don't know, sometimes when you're not doing anything, it makes your life a lot harder. It's good to stay busy and distract your brain, because if you're just sitting around bored all the time, you're not doing yourself any good. And I know this from experience. Like, being alone can definitely cause a lot of issues in your life. And yeah, if you find yourself being bored and alone all the time, you need to find something to do. And I'm not trying to be mean, but it's just not good for your health, and it's destructive. And you've heard people say an idle mind is the devil's playground, and that is very true. The more you sit around and think, the more irrational negative thoughts encompass your mind, and it can really lead to destruction. A lot of the bad mistakes that we make in our lives is when we're depressed, when we're anxious, when we're fearful, when we're doubtful, and that's when we've made the worst mistakes in our life, is when we have too much time to think. So if you stay busy and try to occupy your mind, I think that's the best way to go. And don't occupy your mind by watching TV. I mean, if you're watching, like a how-to video or a video to better yourself, then that's okay. Or something that's like religious or positive or nature, I think that's okay. But if you're just like watching horror shows and murder mysteries or drama shows, you're not doing yourself any favors. And yeah, like I said before, like we scroll through Facebook or watch all these shows, and we see all the things that we don't have because we see what others have, and it just makes you more depressed. Okay, so you need to focus on the things that you have, even if it's something small, even if it's having shoes on your feet every day. I mean, it helps trying to focus on what you do have other than what you don't. But I'm not trying to preach to you guys. I'm just telling you kind of like how I've been shifting my mindset and trying to think positive, because when you're looking for Bigfoot, you can really get discouraged. And I've said it before, I feel like a grain of sand out in the ocean when I'm looking for these things, and it can really get discouraging. So you just have to shift your thoughts and practice gratitude. It really helps out a lot, guys, especially if you're trying to achieve something big in your life. Wow, that was really cool. Okay, I'm gonna focus towards the sky. All right, there's some stuff going on. Oh boy, I don't know if we can see this. All right, let's try to turn on the IR, see if that helps. No, doesn't seem to help. It's insane because there's a ton of stars up there and they're not really showing up on the camera. You can see some of them, but a majority of them are not there. Alright, so I don't know what just happened. Basically, I was laying down there in the field on my back in the grass, and I was sitting there looking at the stars, and I seen a few shooting stars, and I was laying there praying on my back, just relaxing, because there's nothing on thermal, nothing really going on. And I laid there for quite some time, and I heard something. I don't know what it was. It was like a really strange noise. It wasn't a vocalization. I don't know if it was footsteps that I heard or what, but something was like hunting me. Something was coming at me, and I jumped up in the middle of my prayer, and I barked like a dog, like whoo. Whatever it was, it took off, and I pulled out my thermal device, and I was looking, didn't see a heat signature, but whatever it was coming right at me. Like, I don't know if I was being stalked or what. Something was like hunting me. I don't like that feeling. And that's the scary part, is I haven't seen anything on thermal, haven't heard any wildlife, and I'm laying down there and something like targeted me. Maybe I'm guessing it smelled me, but yeah, that's terrifying. So definitely be careful when you're out there if you think nothing's around, because most likely that's when something's around. Wow. Yeah, that was nerve-wracking for sure. Wow. That definitely got my attention, and I'm more terrified because I don't know what the heck it was. Now I'm on edge. I feel like something's around me. The wind's blowing, so like that's when things are gonna make their move. I've noticed that with Sasquatch activity in the past. Like they'll stalk you or hunt you whenever the wind's blowing real hard, and they can move freely without being seen. I'm seeing something on this log over here. Well, not anymore. As soon as I hit record, it goes away. I think it was a rodent, though. Oh, and another thing is when I walked back towards the camper, Yowie's freaking out in there. I still haven't opened up the door because I don't want him to run out, but yeah, he was freaking out. He stopped now that I'm out here and I'm talking, but you can definitely tell he was spooked. I guess he could hear me down there, all the way down there, or something. Or he knows something's around. Strange. All right, guys, but yeah, it's getting pretty late, and I'm pretty worn out. I want to make sure I get a good night of sleep. I want to wake up pretty early. I like waking up early and enjoying the morning. And yeah, it's really windy outside, and I just don't like the feeling that I'm getting out here tonight. Just something feels off for sure. And the strange part, it feels like any other night that I've been out here. Like I said before, typically it's really windy, but just there's like an ominous presence out here. I don't know how to explain it. Just something dark, something spooky. And I don't know if I want to explore and find out what the hell it is. But yeah, I'm not going to make a big scene about it. I don't know what it is. I don't know what that was. I just feel like we may get some visitors tonight at camp, or at the camper. So yeah, I'm kind of glad I didn't set up my tent. Things fall into place, right? It might be a good thing that I'm in the camper, because I don't know, I heard this story about a person that was they were in a tent, and a black bear ate them when they were sleeping in the tent. I guess they were in a deep sleep, and a black bear ate somebody that was sleeping in their tent. That's pretty freaky. There's definitely 100% black bears out here. And yeah, guys, who knows? I'll keep you guys posted if anything else happens. Alright, that was a rough night last night. Night number 2, I just couldn't sleep at all, and I had like these horrific nightmares. Yeah, stop. Yeah, he's being a hellion again. He's got the crazies. But yeah, I had these horrible nightmares last night, and I don't know why I couldn't sleep, but I couldn't hear anything out there. If there was like cryptid activity, I don't know, because it was so windy. But there was definitely a dark feeling last night, and whenever I was laying in the field, something was coming at me, and I'm surprised it took off so fast before I could see it on the thermal. But it doesn't help that I jumped up and barked like a Rottweiler. Yeah, we stop. This little guy is just cracking me up, man. I don't know what I'd do without you. Stop biting me, though. You're the best Squatch dog there is. Look at him. He's got a shark jaw. Say hi. Say hi to the camera. People want to say hi to Yowie. They say you're the star of the show. We'll know it's Sasquatch when you pee yourself and run inside the camper, right? Hey, no biting. Alright, I'm gonna have to bust your butt. You want your butt busting? Joke. People are like, you can't do that. That's dog abuse. As he's chewing on my arm. But yeah, Adam should be here tomorrow. I plan on searching the park and looking for something, anything. And I'll keep you guys updated after I get this monster off of me. Can you imagine 2 giant Sasquatch looking through that window? That would be the window to spot them. Like I said, I really like that big glass window. And then right here, I can just see down into the woods.